Alright, Hebrews. Y'all see this brother right here. General SETI. That's what he called himself. You know, a general. And he been having a good time off the Hebrews. You know, he been having a good time off the Hebrews. And he been doing this a long time. And man, I know Hebrews been wondering when somebody gonna come up and be able to fade him with the history and show him what time it is. Okay, his time is here now. His time is here now. You know, he been getting away for a long time with, you know, clowning them Hebrews that don't know the history. You know, them Hebrews been using Jewish history. You know, them Hebrews been using Jewish history. And he been having a field day off them. Okay. The Hebrew nation, the whole Hebrew nation, broke the covenant and went into Africa in the book of Jeremiah. You know, in the book of Jeremiah, during the Babylonian wars, well, this was really kind of like before then. We was messed up real bad from the basically the time of Solomon on down. You know what I'm saying? We had a few good kings that, you know, tried to unite the kingdom. And this Egyptian love that you got, oh man, if you only knew what time it was. You see what I'm saying? So I figure you a brother, you trying to do right and you want to do right and you want to help the people, but you really working for the enemy. Because anytime you trying to push an Egyptian identity or an Egyptian culture and trying to put that on us, then you working for the enemy, for the simple fact that it was the Egyptians that crossed us out of our heritage. You know what I'm saying? This kind of go back to Joseph days, when Joseph was in Egypt and when Joseph answered the Pharaoh's dreams, and Pharaoh's priests and magicians wasn't able to do nothing. You see what I'm saying? Then Pharaoh knew that it was going to be a problem. Pharaoh knew the ethnicity of the Hebrews that was in Egypt at the time. You know, the Tanakh show all this. And Pharaoh was dirty and low down, a real dirty low down dude, when he gave Joseph Asenath. That's the priest of On daughter. You know what I'm saying? When he gave Joseph Asenath, the Papa Pari, whatever that Egyptian soccer name, that was the priest. And Pharaoh gave Joseph Asenath. And we're going to go to that. And I'm going to show you a history and a pattern of how them Egyptians caused our mouth to get tore out. You know, if you go to Genesis, I think it's 41. I told you when I get this camera, I was going to start recording. I've been recording on a phone that lasts for only 20 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes for the last 2 years, because I'm just trying to make it. But the Creator blessed me with a camera, and now I can do some real videos for a long time. So I'm going to be getting some real history in. So I'm going to need you Hebrews to subscribe to the channel so you can keep up with the latest videos. Okay, you know, this brother, Sultan SETI, the general, been clowning the Hebrews, and he been playing a major part with the destruction of the Hebrew people with the Egyptian philosophy, you know. All right, if you go to Genesis, that's gonna be Genesis 41, 45, and then you're gonna see, and Pharaoh called Joseph, named Zapanath-Paneah, and he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potipari, priest of On. And Joseph went out all over Egypt. All right, Joseph had 2 sons by her, and the name of the sons is Manasseh. You know, and unto Joseph were born two sons, you know what I'm saying, before the years of the famine, which Asenath the daughter of Papaperi bare unto him. And Joseph called the name of the first son of Manasseh, for Yah said he had made him forget all my toil and all my father's house. And the name of the second called he Ephraim. Alright, Ephraim and Manasseh. We know that they got Egyptian mother, a Hamite mama, and a Hamite granddaddy. That's the priest of On in Halopolis. In Halopolis. You know, that's where they was at. Okay. You know, it was a regime change. You know, the East Africans come on, you know, because the West Africans that rule Egypt gonna be like the Mishwish tribes, the people from the Sahara, from the west side of the Nile. You know what I'm saying? From the west side of the Nile. They from the west of the Nile, and the people from the east of the Nile gonna be the Nubians and the Cushites and the Ethiopian stock that ruled it Upper Egypt. Alright. They come on the throne and they, you know, didn't like us or Joseph. And, you know, we went into the little bondage that the scriptures speak of, you know. And we built the treasure cities, you know, the treasure cities for the pharaohs. You know, them folks had trade with Mesopotamia, and we built the sails and the clothes, and we was the working factory. You know, not only did we, you know, build structures, but, you know, we helped, you know, Egypt with its commerce, you know, with the cheap labor and stuff, you know. And that happened. You know, Egypt traded with Mesopotamia before we even was an Israelite nation. Okay. Joseph had those two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, by Asenath, the priest of On. Now, the priest is like a big man in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? He the big man in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? The priest he almost like next to Pharaoh. Okay, Joseph had two sons by his daughter, and the youngest son gonna be Manasseh. You know, if you out taking care of your business and you leave your kids over their grandparents' house, you know, their grandparents gonna install their beliefs and what they think is right in the children. And being that the priest is the boss, you know, of the religious order in Egypt, you know he gonna try to put it down, you know what I'm saying, on Joseph's kids. And that's what happened, and you can see signs of this. Okay, when we Exodus during Moses' time, you know, because, you know, Pharaoh was slick when he gave Joseph Asenath, the priest of On daughter. It's like he was planting the seed for our destruction later on. You know what I'm saying? And it actually came to pass. What Pharaoh did, it got us in the end. Okay, we Exodus from Egypt. We, you know, going into the promised land with the mission and with the understanding that we had a job to do to those Canaanite tribes, who was basically going to be kin to the Hamite tribes too. But these Canaanites got Tazarat on them, and they wicked, and they had mixed it with them Nephilims, and the Raphalims, the Amorite tribes, you know, the Amorites, the Hittites, and all the Canaanite tribes. You know, we were supposed to displace them when we come out of Egypt, you know, because it's like they had a covenant, you know, that go back to the Hammurabi days when they was in Babylon and basically controlled the whole Mesopotamia area. You know, it's a whole nother history. I got videos on that. Okay, when we Exodus Egypt, and Prophet Moses went up to get the law and was gone for a little while. You know, it was some Egyptians that had Exodus with us. If you go to Exodus chapter 12, verse 38, you'll see it says, and a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, very much cattle. All right, so there's some Egyptians left with us, and 9 out of 10 is gonna be the people that's kin to Joseph's sons. Manasseh and Ephraim. It's probably gonna be some of they people that's exiting with us. The cattle worshippers. The people that worship Hathor, Isis, and all the Egyptian gods. All right, they're gonna exodus with us, and when Moses go up to get the law, and then they don't know what happened to him, well, those people gonna influence us. They're gonna influence us, as can be seen in the scriptures. When you go to Exodus 32, and then you get to reading, you're gonna see that it says, and the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, and the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron, and said unto him, up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us out of the land of Egypt, we know not what is become of him. And Aaron said unto them, break off the golden earrings which ye have in your ears, and your wives and your sons and your daughters, and bring them unto me. And the people did that, and he received them at their hands, and fashioned a tool, and made a molten calf, and said, this is your God, O Israel, which brought you up out of Egypt. You see, that's going to be half of the golden calf. You see what I'm saying? All right. Them people exiting with us, that mixed multitude. Pharaoh giving Joseph Asenath, the priest of On's daughter. All that's starting to work now. See what I'm saying? See, Pharaoh ain't stupid, because Pharaoh know that his nation is doomed if we got the covenant and we right there in the promised land. You see what I'm saying? Pharaoh know he doomed, and he can't go across the promised land just when he want to go do trade with his relatives in Mesopotamia. You see what I'm saying? So Pharaoh planted a seed on us. You see what I'm saying? And it came to pass and bore evil fruit, and caused us to lose our heritage. And this brother don't know what's going on. Suit said he don't know what's going on, because he been running into Hebrews that's been teaching Jewish history. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to get into that too. All right. When we exodus with Moses, and Moses went up, and we throwed that golden calf, because that mixed multitude was with us, then, we're going to wander around for 40 years. You know what I'm saying? Until we shake that crew off that, did that, and that was strong with that, and then we were supposed to go into the promised land and displace those Canaanites, them Hamites still, them Hamite related people, and we started kicking it with them. You know what I'm saying? We started kicking it and partying with them, and started doing all the things that we wasn't supposed to do, and we lost our, heritage because of that. Yeah, man, we lost our heritage because of that. All right. Yeah, so Suit said it. He don't know what's going on. He don't know what's going on, and he think it's a game. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here to show that this is real. You know what I'm saying? And what happened to us is real, and you can see it in history and in the Tanakh. Okay, when we, started to go into the promised land, we started messing off. We never could get it right. Then, that's Judges. Judges gonna explain what happened to us. All right, and then you get to Samuel and King Saul and King David. All right, they kind of straighten it up. You know what I'm saying? We started to get on the right path then. And then Solomon get on the throne. Everything go downhill from there. Solomon was after this brother called Jeroboam. The Creator had chose Jeroboam to lead the people because of what Solomon was doing. Solomon was sinning and having all kind of old women that he was building temples for, and doing all kind of old wicked stuff. You know what I'm saying? And he was driving us, astray. If we can't do the covenant in the land, the Creator was going to kick us out the land. So, Solomon seen that this brother named Jeroboam had the blessings of the Creator on him, and he was prosperous in everything that he did. And Solomon sought to kill him. Well, check it out. That Jeroboam that the Creator had, told that would lead to people. How about he was from the tribe of Ephraim, and when he fled to Egypt, he was fleeing to his people. He was fleeing to his people. And if you go to 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 26, you'll see, and it says Jeroboam the son of Nebat and Ephrathite, those are the Ephraimites, of Zeredah, Solomon's servant, whose mother name was Zur, a widow, even he lifted up his hand against the king. All right, so this brother would go to Egypt and kick it with his relatives, the Egyptians, because as you know, the tribe of Ephraim was kin to the Egyptians through Manasseh and Ephraim. They grandfather was the priest of On, so they gonna have some strong hookups, with the leaders of Egypt. So Jeroboam gonna go to Egypt during Solomon time, and then when he come out, after Solomon's death, he came out, and Shawshank was of the West Africans, the people that, was west of the Nile and stuff. He wasn't of the Ethiopian Kush stock, the Nubian stock. All right, so, he gonna look out for his relative Jeroboam until Solomon died. And then when Solomon died and Jeroboam come out of Egypt, Jeroboam brought 2 golden calves this time. You see what I'm saying? So the Egyptians was making sure that we go down. The Egyptians was making sure that we was doomed by, helping Jeroboam. And then when Jeroboam come out of Egypt, he put them 2 golden calves on us. And you see that, and that's going to be in 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 28. That's going to show how Jeroboam put that golden calf on us. And then you can see throughout the history how we did the golden calves. I mean, if you go to Second Chronicles, verse, let me see, Second Chronicles. Yeah, man, I'm saying, throughout our whole history, up to the time that King Josiah cleaned the Egyptian worship up, we was messed up on it, and we couldn't get it right. It caused the kingdom to divide, and we was tore up. Like I said, Egypt put that golden calf mess on us and their religions on us, so they can, go across the promised land to Mesopotamia. If we doing the Egyptian religion, then Egypt all good. You know what I'm saying? They can go where they want to and do what they want to. But if we on the covenant, then Egypt cut off, and it's like almost the death of that idol worshiping nation. Okay, so Egypt gonna plant that golden calf on us. You see what I'm saying? And the Egyptians gonna kill King Josiah after he cleaned the Egyptian worship up. We was looking for King Josiah after Jeroboam was told that a son would be born of the house of David by the name of Josiah. Well, King Josiah came around about 638 BC, and he cleaned the whole Israel up. See, it wasn't no 10 lost tribes. See, you've been running across the brothers that's been doing Jewish history, teaching Jewish history, and you know this. I know you done peeped at my site and done seen what time it is. See, you've been having a good time off the Hebrews. Well, the show is over now, because if they start seeing these videos that I'm putting out showing that you telling a lie and you don't know what's going on, then everything gonna start to fall in place. Everything gonna start to fall in place. Okay, the Egyptians killed King Josiah. After Jeroboam brung that Egyptian worship out and put those 2 golden calves on us, 931 BC, 632 BC, King Josiah born, he cleaned up the whole Israel, the whole northern and southern kingdom.
You see what I'm saying? And then the Egyptians gonna come kill him and then put his weak relatives on the throne that went back to Egyptian religion. And then we went into Africa and lost our heritage, and we've been lost ever since. You see what I'm saying? See, all this is in the Tanakh, and I done posted it on your site. It's on your site. All this history on your site. You know peep what time it is, and you know when in your little hole. You ain't got time to rap now, cause this could put a cramp in your style. You see what I'm saying? Okay, if you go to the book of Jeremiah, like I said, the prophet made the prophecy for King Josiah, 931 BC. He cleaned, you know what I'm saying? We waited on him till he was born, been around about 631 BC in about 299 years, about 300 years. We waited on him. That was the real Messiah. That was the real Messiah, and he came to pass. That's the Messiah that the Jews gonna take the history from and fashion it into that demigod Messiah, Jesus. You know, I'm gonna go into that history also too. You know, it's gonna be a whole lot of history going on around here, but we got to deal with this Hebrew history and with him first. You see what I'm saying? Because he been having a good little time in a good little ring dealing and clowning the Hebrew Israelites. Okay, if you go to the book of Jeremiah, this is in 588 BC. I can cover the whole history. I can do all the books with time and date. I'm just trying to do this because I know how our attention span is not long. You see what I'm saying? But this history they can see plain as day. All right, if you go to the book of Jeremiah, this is going to be around about 588 BC. This is 588 BC. If you go to chapter 44, you know, I'm going to just sum it up because we ain't going to be trying to, you know, man, I ain't got to make no outrageously long video. You know what I'm saying? I'm used to making those little 20, 30-minute videos. You know what I'm saying? And I pack a lot of history in those videos, you know what I'm saying, with that small time. All right, but if you go to chapter 44, this is during the Babylonian Wars. You know, the Egyptians then killed King Josiah. They done put the weak relatives on the throne that would take us back to the Egyptian religion. You know, the Egyptians was basically destroying us. All right. And then when we went to the Egyptian religion, we was chased off the land. The Creator sent the people from the north. That's what the book of Jeremiah is about. And we was chased into Africa. We was chased off the promised land for saying that we wanted to worship the Egyptian religion. And it was like, you know, the 99% that ran into Africa, and it was like 1% that was took into Babylon. You know, that's a whole nother history. But the ones that went into Africa, you know, if you go to 44 verse 2, it says, "This said the Elohim of hosts, the Yah of Israel, ye have seen all the evil that I have brought upon all Jerusalem and upon all the cities of Judah, and behold, this day they are a desolation, and no man dwelleth therein." All right, those Hebrews was chased off the land. You know, the land was empty of Hebrews. You was either in Africa or you was taken to Babylon. All right, and the ones that went into Africa, this is what we said, you know. And if you go to Second Chronicles, Second Kings chapter 25, verse 26, this all the people going into Africa. This is everybody. Chapter 25, Second Kings chapter 25, verse 26. And it says, "And all the people, both small and great, and the captains of the armies arose and came to Egypt, for they was afraid of the Chaldeans." All right, the Chaldeans at the time had Scythians that made up the army. These Scythians and the Chaldeans and the Babylonians destroyed Assyria in 612 BC and made a beeline straight for us. You see what I'm saying? Because the northern kingdom was a part of the Assyrian army. You know, the Syrians took 3 tribes, Reuben, Gad, and Manasseh, to help them fight against the Babylonians. It's a history going on that nobody speak about, and that's kind of like hidden because everybody been basically doing Jewish history, and you have to do some real research to understand actually what happened. You know what I'm saying? I got thousands of hours, over 70, 80,000 hours of continuous research that's documented online. You see what I'm saying? And I done debated all kind of folks from all around the world. You know what I'm saying? So, his day is here now. You know what I'm saying? His day is here to create or work in mysterious ways. You know what I'm saying? He been getting away for a long time, this General Student SETI, with disrespecting the Hebrew Israelite community. Well, the Israelite Brotherhood is here to clean it up. All right. All of us had went into Africa after the Egyptians killed King Josiah. The 99%, the millions went into Africa to say that we was going to do the Egyptian religion. They had tricked us up off the land. The Egyptians did. All right. And then if you go to chapter 44, Jeremiah, chapter 44, get down to verse 15, 16, 17, and 18, you'll see that this was a state of mind. That never changed. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burnt incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwell in the land of Egypt, in Pathros, that's southern Egypt, answered Jeremiah, saying, as for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Elohim, we will not hearken unto thee, but we will certainly do so whatever thing go forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her. As we have done, we and our kings, our fathers, our princes, in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of food and saw no evil. But since we left off to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things, and have been consumed by the sword and by famine. So we thought, because we wasn't doing the Egyptian religion, that all the things bad was happening to us. We thought because we wasn't doing the Egyptian religion, it's the reason why the Babylonians was coming in there chasing us up off the land. And they had Scythians in their ranks. And the Scythians were marksmen with the crossbow. They could put your eyes out with the crossbow. And them people came and chased us off the land on horses. The book of Lamentations go into detail. Okay, how you know that these Hebrews that went into Africa to worship the Queen of Heaven never returned when the Persians defeated the Babylonians, because Nebuchadnezzar came into Egypt. This brother be talking about how tough Egypt was. The Syrians kicked a hole in Egypt. The Babylonians whooped Egypt. The Persians whooped the Egyptians and the Greeks. You see what I'm saying? So the Egyptians had theirs coming, and the Creator said that they would go into captivity too. Them Arabs took them into captivity. The Arabs took the Egyptians, and those Hamites related to the Egyptians into captivity and took them east. Those are not strange lands, and that's where they went. All right. Those Egyptians tricked us out of our covenant, going way back, dealing with Prophet Moses. Oh yeah, and this is how you know that we in the Egypt that Prophet Moses said that the Hebrews will be taken to, is if you go to New York City, the obelisk, the Cleopatra needle, would have been the same obelisk that we seen when we was in bondage in Egypt during Moses' time. It's the same one. You see what I'm saying? So all this is tied in together, and with him trying to discredit our Israelite heritage, he playing a part with these beasts that he talking about destroying. Okay, how you know that these Hebrews didn't come out of Africa, that went into Egypt, that was tricked into Egypt to worship the Queen of Heaven? You have the prophet Ezra, Nehemiah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. Those 5 prophets covered that 1% that come back from Babylon, that went to Babylon like they was told and believed in the Creator, and didn't go into Africa. Well, when they come home, they never recorded the Queen of Heaven worshipers coming out to be with them. We are them. All the curses got us that Prophet Moses spoke about, and I can go into all of them in detail. You've been having a good time, And why the creator ain't got up with you, you know what I'm saying, about this? I guess he was saving you around so you can run across the truth. Well, you done ran across the truth now, buddy. And if you keep on with these lies and tormenting these Hebrews just using Jewish history, then, you know what I'm saying, you're going to have to answer to the creator for that. And I'm finna show them where the Jews come in at. Well, both set of Jews and how they end up with our heritage. You know what I'm saying? You Hebrews, go get you some water real quick. But we're going to keep the video on this cat right here. We're going to keep the video on him. Alright, we back. Alright, Hebrews. This is how the Jews got our heritage. We already know that we was tricked out of the Egyptian religion. We already got that understood. That's in the Tanakh, documented thoroughly. How we was tricked out of our heritage, tricked out the promised land into Africa where we was enslaved from. Okay, now let's see a little history on those Jews who he think that we represent and that we trying to be like. See, he don't know that the Jews was in our heritage during the time of our downfall, and they slick played a part in it. Well, we did it, you know what I'm saying? But they inherited all the rewards from our downfall. You know, that's how they got on top. You know, if you go to First Kings, this is during the Assyrian Wars. You know, it's a lot went on during the Assyrian Wars. And Assyria even had a regime change. You know what I'm saying? When these people was placed in our land. I got that documented. Alright. If you go to First Kings chapter 17. Let's see. No, this is going to be 2 Kings. I apologize. 2 Kings chapter 17. Chapter 17, verse 24. Alright, chapter 17, verse 24. And you're going to see, and it reads, "And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Hamath, and from Cutter, and from Ava, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel." Okay, those people from Samaria, those people from Sepharvaim that was placed in Samaria, the Sepharvaim, okay, that's the Hebrew word for Sephardi, Sephardic, and Sephardim. You know, if you look at Sepharvaim, that's going to be the place of the people, the Babylonian scribes that wrote the Babylonian history. Marduk, Norajal. You see what I'm saying? See, the Sepharvaims is responsible for the archives in the writing of the Babylonian history with its gods. Those were scribe towns, Nippur and Sippur. Sippur is short for Sepharvaim. Okay, those Sephardi Jews were basically Amorites because the Amorites are the founder of Babylon and where they come from. You see what I'm saying? So it's a whole lot going on, Hebrews. It's a whole lot going on. But the Israelite Brotherhood done figured out what's going on. And I'm going to show y'all what's going on. So we can put these cats like this in their place. And they can fall in their heritage and do what's right for the Hebrew Israelite nation. See, once he see this truth, then he need to turn around and start pushing this agenda. Because he see the truth right here. Ain't no getting away from this. You see what I'm saying? Alright, the Sepharvaims. Those are the Sephardis, the Sephardics, and the Sephardims. You know, those, you know what I'm saying, they was from Sepharvaim, and they was Babylonian scribes. They're responsible for Babylon's history. They're responsible for Babylon history. Okay, they was placed in our land in 722 BC. Alright, in 722 BC, we was on the Egyptian religion from 931 BC. It didn't get cleaned up until King Josiah cleaned it up around about 621 BC. And then the Egyptians killed him. You see what I'm saying? All right. Those Sephardims. It's the Hebrew word for Sephardi, Sephardic, and Sephardim. They was Babylonian scribes. All right. If you go to 2 Chronicles chapter 30, 2 Chronicles chapter 30, this is dealing with King Hezekiah. This is dealing with King Hezekiah. I can get rid of two myths all at one time. All right, this is in 715 BC. King Hezekiah is on the throne, and King Hezekiah got all the tribes at home. And the tribes that's not mentioned during King Hezekiah time gonna be mentioned during this grandson King Josiah time, and I'm gonna show you that. But let's show that these Sephardims, these Sephardi Jews that was placed in our heritage, how they end up with our heritage when we went into Egypt to worship the Egyptian religion. All right, as you read down 2 Chronicles chapter 30, and then you get down to verse 25, and you'll see, and it says, and all the congregation of Judah, and the priests and the Levites, and all the congregation that come out of Israel, and the strangers that come out of the land of Israel that dwelt in Judah rejoice. So that's going to be them Sephardims coming to the Passover dinner that King Josiah had in 715 BC. This is 7 years after they was placed. All right, if you go back to Second Kings chapter 17, you're gonna see that these folks was kind of like doing our heritage. You know, if you go to 2 Kings chapter 17 verse 24, you see that they was placed at 722 BC, and as you read down, you will see that it says 17 verse 32. So they feared the Elohim and made unto themselves the lords of them priests of the high places, who sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. You know, they feared the Elohim and served their own gods, after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. All right, that's like, you know, they do that right now today. How they mix their Babylonian Kabbalist stuff with what they call our heritage, the Torah, and out comes the Judaism and all other kind of stuff. All right, but as you see, you know what I'm saying, them people, look, when you get to 2 Kings chapter 17 verse 41, and it says, so these nations feared the Elohim and served their graven images, both their children and their children, as their fathers do unto this day, which is the same as they showed up doing to this day. Okay, those people would know about our heritage, and they would know the customs, they would know about the priests, they would know about the books, they would know about the schools and everything. They was already scribes from Babylon. You see what I'm saying? And then when we ran into Africa in the book of Jeremiah, after the Egyptians killed King Josiah, then them people got everything. You see what I'm saying? Them people got everything. And that's the Sephardi Jews right here. Okay, Ashkenazi is going to be with this Ashkenazi code name in history is Scythian. Ashkenazi code name in history is Scythian, and they made up the Chaldean nation. You know, they did some archaeological diggings and found a whole bunch of arrowheads, hollow point arrowheads that the Egyptians, that the Scythians shot at us. And it was so many of them left. You know what I'm saying? Even to this day in time. Well, Ashkenazi was already prophesied to be in our heritage by our father Noah. If you go to Genesis, that's going to be Genesis 9 verse 27. I know that by heart. See, this cat been getting away a long time of bruising the Hebrews, but it's over with now. All right, 9:27. And Yah shall enlarge Japhet, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. You know, Canaan ain't nothing but those Amorite, Sephardi Jews that come from Babylon is serving Ashkenazi that's in our land. right now today. So that prophecy come to pass. And if you go to Jeremiah 57, 52, 50, Jeremiah 52, 57 or something like that, you'll see that he mentioned Ashkenazi name. So Ashkenazi been around for a long time, and you Hebrews don't be having Ashkenazi in your history, and neither do this dude. He don't know nothing about the Ashkenazi and the Sephardi Jews. You see what I'm saying? So that history he be kicking on them Hebrews is Jewish history, and those Hebrews be using Jewish history to explain Hebrew Israelite history, and he been getting out on them. Plain and simple as that. I do Jewish history and Hebrew Israelite history, and I can show you the difference. You see what I'm saying? Okay, those Egyptians tricked us out of our heritage, and that's what happened to us. You see what I'm saying? So you can cut that noise out. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be posting a whole bunch of videos about you. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a little slick cut because you've been talking bad about the Hebrews and you got this coming. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, Ashkenazi, man, is in the Tanakh too. Ashkenazi and the Sephardi groups, the people that we abandoned our heritage to, because when we went into Africa in the book of Jeremiah, we left everything to both of them groups right there. All right, let's see. Ashkenazi is in here. All right. Jeremiah 50, 51, 27. Set ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, and prepare the nation against her, called against her the kingdom of Iraq, Mene and Ashkenazi. Appoint captains, where they took Babylon over, just like Prophet Jeremiah said. You know, those Scythians, they took over the Babylonian way that the Sephardi's had. You know, the Sephardian Babylonian way controlled the world at one time, but now Ashkenazi got it now. All right, this dude been getting away with clowning the Hebrews. Well, it's over with now, buddy, because the Israelite Brotherhood is here. You know what I'm saying? I'm Israel being Israel for the Israelite Brotherhood. You see that? Israelite Brotherhood. So, you know what I'm saying? I got you. I'm a religion killer. You know what I'm saying? I'm an Egyptian religion killer. You know what I'm saying? I'm an Egyptian religion killer. All right, shalom to the Hebrews. Pass this video around. General SETI. You dealing with the king now. You see, I ain't no general. I'm a king. You see what I'm saying? This is the king you dealing with. This the main man for the Israelite Brotherhood. It's the main man for the Israelite Brotherhood did this video. Shalom, Hebrews.